me. I'm going to try to get his name right. Zoltran Petranyi is the guy that Shannon Briggs knocked out in the first round, March the 28th, 2015. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, and I cover every single major fight live. Fans are asking now, what is next for Shannon Briggs? Now, remember, he had that brutal defeat to the hands of Vitaly Klitschko, and basically Vitaly Klitschko beat him into a coma. And then he hasn't fought. He had a gap between 2010, since he lost to Vitaly Klitschko, and fought 6 times in 2014. Big 4-year gap in between. But those 6 times in 2014 was against who? Fighters like Zoltran Petranyi. So right now we're seeing that, okay, all right, 6 times in 2014, 1 time right now in 2015. It's March now. You're thinking, well, that's 7 fights since you've been back. 7 fights in like 15 months. No, 13 months, something like that. So now you have to ask yourself, okay, well, you're all over social media. Your plan has worked as far as getting your name out there to younger fans. Who's this crazy 43-year-old 58-6-1 with 51 KOs? Who's this 43-year-old crazy man who's quoting Clubber Lang, Mr. T, when he's showing up at these Vladimir Klitschko press conferences? Shannon Briggs' name is relevant now, but now he's got to fight a fighter to really get his name out there. Now, me personally, I'm seeing these guys he's knocking out. And if you go look at the fights, those fights are on YouTube. They're in like these small circuit venues in these little ballrooms, you know, and you're thinking like, who's even sanctioning these fights? But yet at the same time, he's ranked right now probably number 5 by the WBA. No other organizations, but the WBA for some reason has him creeping up on a title shot, you know, against Vladimir Klitschko, fighting these no-name guys. It's been 7 of them now. 7 of them. So now you have to think about names like, well, what about Antonio Tarver? Now, me personally, I think that would be a good fight for a guy like Shannon Briggs. Antonio Tarver, Malik Scott, Chris Arreola, Bamaine Stavern. And what I'm saying is now Shannon Briggs has been talking all this talk and everything, and I can understand that maybe there's some fighters that don't want to fight him, but if you go check out Magic Man Antonio Tarver's Twitter right now, the fight's right there. It's all up to thank you, Al Heyman. It's all up to Al Heyman. And let me say something. Me personally, probably because I watch so many fights, maybe, and I look forward to even just the small fights, like for example, an Alfonso Gomez versus a Yoshihiro Kamagai. I get excited for fights like that. Maybe that's probably the reason why I'm gonna say what I'm saying now when I say that Antonio Tarver is a very good and entertaining fighter to me at heavyweight. Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't know, if you haven't been following me since 2010, 2011, I was a big Antonio Tarver fan, you know, and I was pissed when those results came back that he was, you know, performance-enhancing drugs and everything like that. But on the low, I was a big Antonio Tarver fan and was lobbying back then in 2010 and 2011 that he can win championships and titles at 200 pounds or heavyweight, and seeing what he did against Jonathan Banks, a natural heavyweight. And Jonathan Banks, if you're a trainer of a Klitschko, you know, the guy that has all the belts, listen, after that, just retire. It's done. I understand listen, it's done. That's just my personal opinion. But what I'm saying is this: Antonio Tarver may not look the part as far as physically. You know, he's not ripped, he's not cut. You know, a lot of fans say that he looks sloppy, but remember, this is a light heavyweight fighting at heavyweight right now, and I think that the weight he's at, that 220-ish range, is comfortable for him. And honestly, you know, he looks sharp at that weight. You know, it's certain people that they don't have to be all ripped, cut, and shredded for them to be productive, if that makes sense. Not everybody. Some people have that gift. And right now, watching Antonio Tarver's last fight, even though with Latif Keoti, you know, that's when the steroids and everything, I mean, the performance-enhancing drugs came out. But if you watch his fights, he can hang with there, because he can hang in there with some heavyweights. Because for one, he has the hand speed, and 2, you know, he has the overall boxing skill and his pace. He would be somewhat of a faster guy in the heavyweight division. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he beat no Klitschko. I'm not saying he beat no Tyson Fury. Don't get that twisted. But when it comes to a Shannon Briggs, I got him over Shannon Briggs. When it comes to a Malik Scott, 50-50 fight, in my opinion. Why? Because Malik Scott reminds me of, I use this analogy a lot. He reminds me of Andrew Bynum. If you're a basketball fan, you'll know what I mean. Andrew Bynum is so skilled. We don't know now, but he was so skilled and could have been the best center in the NBA. But the thing is, he wanted to do other shit. So he wanted to get the check for basketball, but it really wasn't his interest. He wanted to go salsa dancing and perm his hair and all kind of shit like that. Malik Scott, if you get me, it's not disrespect, but what I'm saying is he's so highly skilled. He's so highly skilled, but it just seems as though boxing is not number one for him, and he wants to do other shit. So that's my take on that. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. The fight with Shannon Briggs versus Zoltan Petranyi is on YouTube. It's only one round. This guy was literally running around the ring, and you had Shannon Briggs just chasing him. Shannon Briggs is in excellent shape for him to be 43 years old. But at the same time, remember, he's fought 7 fights since last year. 7 fights since 2014. Remember, it's only March. It's March right now. March 28th. He fought 7 fights, and yet, no, it's time to get a name in there. It's time to get a name. Call up old ass Seth Mitchell or something. Give me Kubrat Pulev. That would be a big fight, but you have to be an international boxing fan to understand that. Steve Cunningham, Zar Glaskov, Joseph Parker. There's names out there for Shannon Briggs. For him to say that people won't fight him, I think that he's looking for a Klitschko fight. I think that's what his sole purpose is to get his face smashed in that way. My personal opinion. But if you don't know, T Street Controversy is providing full coverage for Klitschko versus Jennings. So when it comes to all the major events associated with Klitschko's Jennings, I will be there. And what it means is that I'm going to be at the press conferences, the media days, and maybe Shannon Briggs will show up. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll have another fight by then. Who knows? T Street Controversy with RealCombatMedia.com. We cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.